everyone. Welcome to Social Work 505. My name is Dr. Marcia Schwam-Harris, and I will be the professor for this course. I want to welcome you to one of a number of foundation courses that you will be attending as you enter your MSW program here at UB. These are courses that you are all required to take, and I want at this point to congratulate you on being accepted into the MSW program and starting an exciting new phase of your life. I've provided and will be providing notes every week for you to read. We want to start today with just a brief discussion of that you will be getting these key notes for each class. I do want to tell you that many of my comments during my lecture will not be on your notes. I've given you what I consider key points, but my comments for additional information or examples are not all on the notes. So if you want, I'm giving you a helpful hint. Follow along with the notes during my lecture, and then you'll be able to add your own notes to the notes I have provided for you. And that way you can keep them all together. You will have all your notes for each class, each topic in one place, and it will be very easy for you to refer to them in the future. And it's very good to have them conveniently together in one place. So, we're going to start today with a look at the agenda. There will always be an agenda on the notes. Every week we have a series of things that we'll be discussing, and they'll be laid out for you on the agenda. We start with introductions. And of course, I will introduce myself first. I am Dr. Marcia Schwam-Harris. I have an academic background. I have an MSW from Fordham University. I have my doctorate here from UB. And I have a long work history in New York City's Child Welfare Department. So I have both academic and practice background. I want to have you each introduce yourselves, and the way we're going to do that, the easiest way right now, is there will be a discussion forum opened on UB Learns. It'll be called Introductions. And I would like each of you to enter some information about yourself, very briefly. It is not a long thing that you have to write. It's just a brief introduction so that your fellow students and I can learn who you are. This explains what we want. Have you taken other courses before? Are you new to social work? Do you have experience? What is your professional goal? Do you have a specific area of interest? And what do you hope to get out of this course? These are some of the things we just want to start with basics and introduce ourselves. At this point, I also want to discuss why we're even here today. Why are we here? What are we doing? What we are doing, in fact, is expanding an interest that most of us have, and that is people watching. We like to observe other people. Actually, we're on a quest that simply put can be stated as we are searching for the answer to the question, why do people behave as they do? I have an example of an interesting observation. I do have experience teaching in New York City also at School of Social Work at a couple of different colleges and universities there. However, on one occasion, as my students were leaving class, in that building, that same evening, it was an evening class, there was an activity going on having to do with New York City Fashion Week. They were using that building as a venue for one of their events. And it was a very interesting observation. As my students were exiting the building through the lobby, students looked like social workers. They had their books. They were tired after a long day of work and study. And in came, as they were leaving, in came a group of young people for Fashion Week, looking totally different. Their hair, their clothing, their makeup, their attitudes. It was an interesting observation because you can see from how people appear and how they behave, how the two groups cross paths and look totally different. So that was just an observation. If you like sitting in an outdoor restaurant or cafe and watching people walk up and down the street, or you like to sit in a public place and just look around, that is something most of us find very interesting. We like to observe how people behave, how groups behave, and we find that very fascinating. The second thing I want to mention, beyond the fact that we like to observe people, is I want to talk about why this is called a foundation course. Like other first-year courses in the MSW program, the foundation course that we're now in provides a knowledge base that you need. All the foundation courses do this. They provide a foundation for future learning for the advanced courses that you'll be taking as you progress through the program. It also gives us a shared professional knowledge base. In fact, every school of social work across the country has the same foundation courses that you are taking here, and it is required in every school of social work. So, even though we may never be able to totally know why, our studies of human behavior and development and the theories that provide our frameworks for understanding human behavior and development enable us to delve further into the question of why. Why do people behave as they do? So our ultimate goal is not only to understand why, but to address the issues we have identified that speak to the purpose of social work. And what is that purpose? Here, I can tell you that there are many definitions of the purpose of social work, but they share a similar goal and conceptual framework, which I have given you a definition of here on the slide. And by the way, I won't be reading every slide to you because you're looking at it and reading it for yourself. But you can see that I've given you a very succinct definition of a goal of social work. And it does identify the purpose of social work. So what we want to then say is, how do we do this? How do we accomplish this purpose of social work? How we do it is defined by our dual mission. We do have a dual mission, which is both micro and macro. We look at the individual and the environment. We look at systems on a micro and macro level. This dual mission of addressing both the individual and the larger system is one of the signposts of social work. It is something that we have always had historically and that we stress. The theoretical frameworks by which those methods and practices that we have in our social work system, we look at those and say, how are they derived? And by that I mean we will be examining where they come from and the influences on how these different frameworks developed. At this point, as you're reading along with the slides, we want to look at what we're going to be doing specifically in this course. And if you have a printout of your syllabus with you, this would be the time to pull it out and read it along with my discussion and looking at the slides. If you don't have it, you might want to stop and get a printout. It will be much easier for you to follow this discussion if you have a copy of the syllabus with you. So the syllabus contains a lot of information. It is rather detailed, but it's in different topics. It contains your basic course description, objectives, competencies, the format of the course. It also also discusses what you can expect from me. I will be helping you achieve these objectives and goals, and I will be providing support for you in doing so. It also discusses expectations of students, and there are a number of expectations which we will be going through. Suffice it to say that would include things like providing feedback, participating, doing the work and doing your own work, professional conduct, and sharing in the learning experience. So, as we go through this syllabus, let us understand this is the format that we're going through. The course description, objectives and competencies, then the format. There is a section on accessibility, resources, and then on academic integrity. I have given you a link there for a tutorial on plagiarism. It is not required that you look at it, but it might benefit you to take a look at it. It's not that long, and it would give you some information that would hold you in good stead, not just in this course, but throughout your academic career. At this point, we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to really look more closely at the syllabus.